Welcome back to Casuals Corner, and you're joined by me and Frankie today, and we're going to run you through some of the hottest topics and debates from UFC 259 because it was by no means a normal card in the run-up to it, but it was definitely no normal card when it played out, and there were some big hotbeds of discussions, and we're going to start off with probably the second largest one we're going to talk about today, and it's going to be the Israel Adesanya v. Jan Blachowicz points decisions, maybe overall decision and maybe just the points in general. Take us through what happened, Frank, and your thoughts as well.
Izzy was doing well. He had some nice fakes. Jan was biting to them a lot. You can see that he kind of respected. He caught him a few times, but Izzy was just being super careful on the edges. He does. It was a close fight. I thought Izzy might have done enough to steal it with the first 3 rounds I would have given him. You could have argued some of them. Honestly thought it was 3 rounds to 2 Izzy, but the last 2 rounds definitely won it for Jan. So it was a good fight. It was a close fight. I don't think Izzy got dominated. I definitely don't think there was 10-8 rounds that the judges would give. I think there was no 10-8 rounds throughout that fight. It was a close fight. What did you think?
So I'll say what I thought of the fight, and then we'll go into what the actual 10-8s and 10-9s mean as well, just to break that down a little bit. But when I was watching it, at the end of it, to be perfectly honest, I didn't think he'd won. I didn't. Which rounds it was going to be that he took, I was a little bit more unsure on, but I didn't think he took it 3-2. But obviously, didn't understand the 10-8s. I think I had it. I can't remember watching it. I think I had it 1-1 going into the second. So as soon as it went into the 4th round, I knew that he weren't winning, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I don't think he'd done enough. I don't think he'd done enough to win, but it ultimately just sort of showed his experience a little bit, didn't he? He sort of just got him down, and he just played it out how he needed to. He got close to him, he couldn't even land any blows off the bottom position, and he just smothered him. It was just clever. It was just veteran behaviour. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he done enough. He definitely won the last 2 rounds, right? But
10-8 is outrageous, by the way.
So for anyone that doesn't know, right, it's a 10-point must system. So one person has to get 10 and the other person has to get 9 or lower, right? So if it's a 10-9 round, obviously one person gets 10, one person gets 9. If you get a point deducted, that'll be a 10-8 round. So if you're cheating, you get a point deducted. So it's hard to come back and win those rounds, right? But a 10-8 round usually is someone nearly getting finished, someone nearly being stopped, someone at the end of that round, they're more or less getting saved by the bell. And at no point in that fight was that ever a situation.
So they say, just off of what you just said, exactly that. And they say basically the scorers score a 10-8 if they felt that there could have been a TKO, but if the ref hadn't stopped it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what they call a 10-8. So they're basically saying that happened twice in that fight.
Yeah.
In which rounds?
Yeah. If you're gonna give him for Jan, if you're gonna you shouldn't, but obviously he won the last 2, but he didn't dominate. Izzy landed, he got held down, he didn't do much with the positions, but he couldn't get back up. So yeah, no doubt give Jan those rounds, but to call it a 10-8 is just not right.
There was obviously more eyes and more attention on those rounds, making it seem a little bit bigger, but they weren't dominating rounds. You put those rounds in any round of that card, and it doesn't stand out at all. Do you know what I mean? That wouldn't have got in any of the fight of the nights, those rounds. It was quite simple what was happening, but it was just in that situation, the magnitude of it felt a lot bigger. Do you know what I mean?
He just couldn't get up.
That didn't make it more dominating. It didn't change what was happening.
There was nowhere near of a submission threat, a finish, or anything like that. I see a lot of people saying, the right guy won, and he probably did, right? Jan did win that fight, but it's a case of the judging, scoring it wrong. Even, for example, in the Cruz fight, that they gave one judge gave Kenny every round, and one judge gave Cruz every round. So it's you're both watching the same thing. So the right person won, but that can influence the whole decision of the fight. It didn't this time, but it easily can. So It needs to be addressed, especially it's always in Vegas as well.
You're exactly right. It's thankfully the scenario this time was that the right person won, happy days, but a lot of other times that couldn't have been the case, and you need some sort of standards there.
Yeah, you need some competent
because
judges.
you can't just be having random results, because it sort of takes out the legitimacy of the wins and the losses.
Yeah.
It becomes a bit of a joke sometimes, because people be like, oh, you had them conversations, yeah, he won, but and you have those stupid.
We don't want these buts. We want.
Hate those conversations, and even though sometimes it's a bit like, no, that's stupid, it just takes a little bit off the shine of what people are actually doing.
It takes away from Blokovic a bit, who and showed tough, he's experienced, he can lean on his grappling when he has to. If he can't knock you out, he can be there the whole 5 rounds. Although he did look tired on the feet towards the end. He looked tired. Adesanya was definitely fresher on the feet towards the end, but
I think potentially could he have pushed the pace a little bit more?
Who's this? Adesanya, sorry.
Yeah, Adesanya. Yeah. Maybe in about that 3rd round, was it? Where he seemed pretty fresh, and he was breathing heavy out of his mouth, wasn't he?
He was trying to front kick him a lot to the body. I would have liked seeing a bit of body work, but
he's beating up that front leg nicely. He's beating up that front. He did check it a couple of times, but he was beating up that lead leg pretty nice.
Jan's got some nice kicks though. That lead head kick, he gets that up quick. Adesanya blocked it, but it was a good fight, high level mixed martial arts bout.
I don't think Jan has, of what I've seen, but is early or will get enough credit for his striking defense. Like he was nullifying Izzy. Like Izzy even came out and was like, I was watching his pressers. He was like, I didn't expect that sort of level, because he didn't make any mistakes. He didn't make any mistakes. Like the mistakes he usually makes, where he blitz usually, and he leaves a few gaps and leaves a few spaces that Izzy would have liked to counter. He didn't do that at all. He's just so well calculated. I don't think he's got enough credit for that, or will get enough credit for that.
He was biting on the fakes a lot as well. I would have liked to seen Izzy maybe let it go a little bit more, but like it's hard when you're in there with Jan, Like Izzy would let it go, but he's got the person in front of him, so he knows.
Yeah.
I don't think Adesanya's lost any what's the word I'm looking for? His stock hasn't gone down, No. I don't think so. He had a nice quote at the end actually. He was like, you can get off the hype train if you want, but it's not derailing. We've just stopped for gas. And he always has like a cool way of putting it. Do you know what I mean?
I thought when it ended, I thought he had to have that tagline.
Yeah, he's a very, very good at the marketing, and his stock hasn't gone down. There's still a lot of interesting fights out there. 85 for him, which I'm sure we'll get onto.
Let's just talk about the fact that let's actually have a look at what he just done. Even though we're talking about him not performing maybe at his best, and he said maybe not at his best and needs to have a look at a few things, he just went 25 rounds with the champion who's just defended his belt. Where you look at someone like Reyes, who went 2 minutes. You look at someone like Luke Rockhold, who got knocked out, who was actually a champ at light heavyweight as well. And he just went 25 minutes with a geezer in his first fight at that weight division. So people saying, he can never fight 205 again. That's absolute rubbish. Just done what 2 champions haven't done.
Yeah. It just wasn't his night, It was just
that's disrespectful, I think, on his behalf. That is disrespectful.
Yeah, it was just the grappling was just too much. He couldn't get up, and it can be worked on, So he can definitely fight at 205. He didn't look massively undersized in there. It's just the grappling. He looked fast. He had the speed advantage. So I don't know. I would like to see him at 85 again, though. Go back down to middleweight.
He's gonna go down. He's gonna go down to middleweight, which is gonna take me on to my next question for you. Who would you want to see from them next at?
So I'll start with Jan, because his one's not as exciting, if I'm being completely honest. Dana's kind of come out and said it as well, that he will be fighting Glover Teixeira, which is a good fight, but don't get me wrong, that if they wasn't champions, would that even headline a fight night?
I think that's a nice title defense for him.
Yeah, I think that's a good matchup, but you can't sleep on Glover. He might not look the part, but he can beat a lot of people. He's
Let's be honest.
Very, very good everywhere.
Let's be honest. What have we learned even just today? Championship belt experience, that shit is valuable. So like, when you're 41 years of age and you've just been and done it all, like, that's a lot of experience in the cage. Like,
Yeah.
he could just be.
Yeah, no.
He could be on this one last row.
Hurrah. Yeah.
This last
It's true.
hurrah.
You can't
Putting
write
it
him off
all
as
in.
well.
Putting
You
it
can't
all
write him
into
off.
his training.
If you look what Glover did to Anthony Smith, who is a good fighter, young still, he can ruin your night. He can, and like that is a good fight. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of
The power he has though, it's the same as Jan. Like, it can turn you off. Do you know what I mean? So it's an equaliser.
And he can
That's
take
why
you
it's
down
exciting.
and smash you up. Like he's good everywhere. Like I said.
Why heavyweight's so exciting, or light heavyweight even is so exciting, because the power is still a factor like heavyweight. So people can still get switched off in a punch, and that's what makes it an exciting. I think he could do it.
Yeah, and then for Adesanya, right? I think he's gonna take the winner of Till versus Vettori, which is a great fight. He's already fought Vettori, beat him in a close decision. So it's the level of Vettori. So I am interested to see how that Till Vettori fight plays out, because that's either a rematch or a very, very, very interesting fight between Till and Adesanya.
I would love nothing more than a Darren Till win. I would then love nothing more than a Darren Till Adesanya title fight. And as much as I would love to see Adesanya just stay on top, I would love to see Darren Till take that belt.
It's just such a great fight.
I would
imagine the lead up to it as well. Just like all the memes online, just them two taking it, because they've got a lot of respect for each other. Like they don't talk shit, but they have that kind of little back and forth where they're just funny. They're just funny guys, and
he's a beautiful striker, and he is like just coming into a nice age now. Like he's still young, but he's just got a couple more years experience on him now.
Yeah, he's got power like Jan, not just as much, but he's also got elite striking. He's a lot more polished than Jan. So it's obviously he hasn't got the grappling credentials to rely on. So it's a very, very interesting matchup for Adesanya and for Till. Granted that Till gets past Vettori, which in itself is a very difficult fight.
And I think that pretty much wraps us up for today. If you enjoyed it, drop us a subscribe. Other than that, drop us a like and a follow. Peace.